All right, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to get into a variety of topics, but this first one, we're going to talk about the Tesla Model 3 long range and why, or the truth about why it is not back yet. I've got a pretty good hunch on why it is not back yet, and of course, in regards to basically the strategy, the pricing strategy, the sales strategy of the Tesla fleet and lineup. So it really just makes sense when you think of it this way at the end of the day. But we're going to talk about that plus a variety of different topics. There's a lot of heat going around with Tesla and Tesla advertising, these recent price drops, some new enhancements to supercharging, and of course, much, much more. But before we get into any of that, let's roll that intro real quick. All right, so thanks for watching another stream. Thanks for watching another video. My name is Dennis, and I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on a Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description if you want to support the channel and get an access to my best or the best Tesla buying guide out there with all the best credit unions and financing rates. And shout out to my latest Patreon members. We got Thomas, Vikram, and Frank down below. Thank you for supporting. If you want to check out the YouTube join link or the Patreon link down below in the description. All right, so let us take a look at this. Of course, we know everything about the Tesla Model 3. We know there was a price decrease very, very recently, down $1,000 across the board for the Model 3 standard range, and the Model 3 performance. Model 3 standard range is down to $41,990. It still qualifies today if you take delivery before April 18th, and you get the full $7,500 federal tax credit. The key thing here is you have to actually take delivery by April 18th, not place an order or give your money to Tesla. You actually have to take delivery of the Model 3 or even Model Y for that matter, by April 18th. So hopefully that clears it up. If you take delivery after April 18th, it potentially, or we know it will go down to $33,750. But the one thing here is through these most recent price drops, we did not see any sort of visibility at all on the Model 3 long range. We've tried to find them in inventory, going to waitingfortesla.com, and there really is none at the moment. There's only Model 3 standard ranges, which there's over 400 of them available, 471, and there's Model 3 performance at 53 available in the country across the US. This is waitingfortesla.com. It's a third-party aggregator site where you can find vehicles, click the reserve button, it will bring you to the Tesla.com site, and you can give Tesla your money. The other flip side of that is that the Model 3 performance is $52,990. It also got a $1,000 price decrease. And so we can only assume that the Model 3 long range is now down $1,000 as well, down to $48,990. But the problem is here that we can't find any in inventory because Tesla is not releasing any anymore for some reason, or has Tesla just stopped producing them altogether? So we'll talk about that and why that might potentially be the exact case here, or at least they're starting to sell a lot less of them. And so the first thing is here, maybe the reason why the Model 3 long range isn't back yet is because of this $7,500 federal tax credit. Maybe how it is built or whatever, it does not qualify for the full amount, and so Tesla doesn't want to release it unless it qualifies for the full $7,500 federal tax credit. What we know right now is that the Model 3 performance potentially does qualify for the full $7,500, and really the only vehicle on the Model 3 lineup that is going to lose it is the Model 3 standard range. So that could really potentially be it, that there really is nothing to it besides that the Model 3 long range is not getting the full $7,500. But even if it is, let's just assume that it is going to get the $7,500 federal tax credit. That would bring it to, of course, whatever the price is and make it very competitive. But this is why I feel like This is why I feel like the Model 3 long range is not coming back, or at least not coming back in full force. The reason being is because I feel like the price of the Model 3 long range is too close, especially now that the Model Y standard range is out at 49,990. I think it is way too close to the Model Y price, and so it is going to cannibalize any sort of sales between the both of them. I mean, if you were to look at both of them right now, a Model 3 standard range a Model 3 long range at 48 or 49,990 and a Model Y standard range all-wheel drive at 49,990. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people, I mean, there's probably a majority of people, 70% maybe. I mean, that's a good poll question, actually. Maybe I should put that, like, would you buy a Model 3 long range for 48,990 or a Model Y standard range for 49,990? And I'm pretty sure that most of everybody is going to say Model Y standard range all-wheel drive for 49,990. And so that's why I feel like Tesla is not bringing the Model 3 long range back yet, because they do not want to cannibalize any sort of sales, or they maybe feel like it's not even worth it because the Model Y all-wheel drive is such close in price to the Model 3 long range drive. So I think what is actually going to happen, so here is my prediction. Here's my prediction. Very, very soon, really April 18th, we know the date, the Model 3 standard range is going to lose the 7,500 federal tax rate and is going to go down to 3,750. After that time frame, if I were a betting man, I'm going to bet a lot of my chips in saying that Tesla will decrease the price of the Model 3 standard range down maybe $2,000 to $3,000, maybe $4,000 down to 39,990 or maybe 38,990. When that actually happens, that will give them enough room or enough distance and spread between a Model 3 standard range and maybe potentially a $45,000 Model 3 long range, because then that would give it enough spread between the Model 3 long range at $45,000 up to a Model Y all-wheel drive standard range at 49,990. I think that's going to be the spread. Hopefully that makes sense, me talking through it on basically the $2,000 to $3,000 differences between all the different trim levels. And so that's why I really feel like the Model 3 long range has not come back yet, has not been released yet, because they're waiting for the right time to introduce this, because it doesn't make sense if it's out right now publicly available for $49,000 or $48,000. It's just way too close to a Model Y all-wheel drive standard range. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Hopefully you can agree, or let me know if you agree with me down below in the comments or even in the live stream chat. We're going to jump into our next topic, but before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel, and there's a variety of benefits, so definitely check it out if you are interested down below in the description. All right, water break. We've got a good amount of topics today. There's a lot of drama going on the Tesla Twitter, I guess. So we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about it in this next topic. So in case you missed it, there's a big debate going on right now in the Tesla Twitter ecosphere about Tesla price cuts versus Tesla advertising. Should Tesla, instead of doing these massive price drops like every few months, dropping the price $7,000 to $13,000, should they use that funding or that lost revenue into advertising and showing awareness instead? So I want to know all of your thoughts on that and what you actually think. But I think the overwhelming support or the overwhelming consensus is that Tesla should not pay for advertising, because there's already so much out there in terms of Tesla branding, and there really doesn't need to be more. And so a cheaper Tesla will be more effective in getting more vehicles on the road on the end of the day. So I want to hear your thoughts on it, so we're going to jump into it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And so let us get into this, of course. So here's Tesla economist on Twitter asking everyone, should Tesla just pay for advertising already? I doubt the majority of consumers even realize how much safer a Tesla is, let alone other features. So an overwhelming 58% said no versus 40 41% said yes. So there's actually a pretty decently even spread here between the both of them, right? I mean, there's a good amount of people that feel like Tesla should pay for advertising. So here's another tweet from Taylor of EV. Legacy Auto spends billions of advertising on his advertising and dropping sales year over year. Tesla spends nothing in advertising and grows sales 40% over year. So there's a lot of course comparison between Legacy Auto and Tesla, and that how Legacy Auto spends a lot of money on advertising. Tesla doesn't spend as much, right? You don't really see a TV commercial or radio commercial, but the one thing you do see is a lot of social media posts and word of mouth marketing. So it's a pretty big debate on whether they should not, so they should. But here's a tweet from James Cat, a supporter of Tesla advertising. And here are the different things that Tesla could advertise if they wanted to. So quote, things Tesla can advertise to educate consumers on with more marketing campaigns. And yes, even ads, cost of ownership versus ICE, range anxiety, road trip, supercharging network, differences in supercharging between non-Tesla supercharger, and much, much more. I mean, a lot of these things they already do advertise on YouTube. If you're not a subscriber of the Tesla YouTube channel, the official one, they make videos like this all the time talking about the differences on all the different features that Teslas have. So that's one thing that Tesla could advertise. But I mean, what the biggest thing is, like, what was the last time you bought a vehicle after you saw a commercial on television for a specific vehicle, right? I feel like a lot of people don't actually pay attention to those type of things anymore, especially like TV. And even if you do, you're like, oh, that's cool, but you don't actually go into research, or maybe you do, but definitely some pretty interesting stuff. So here's a tweet from Telesiv. So what made you go with the car? Well, I saw a really good commercial for it. Said no one. Exactly. So like the effectiveness of advertising on legacy media or television media and radio is just not as effective anymore. And I think it's really because a lot of us have short attention spans, and maybe definitely the younger generation and Gen Z definitely does with like TikTok and Instagram Reels and things like that. And so here's a big write-up from Farzad on Twitter talking about all the different things about Tesla's strategy and how like advertising doesn't necessarily make sense with their strategy and with their fear. But here's the three things that you can basically sum it up from them, right? That basically, let's see, I wrote it down in my notes here on what actually could be summed up from this is that, let's see, sorry. So basically, Tesla's core mission is to advance sustainable transport, and the best way to do that is by making the products as affordable as possible to reach more customers. So that's the first one, right? COVID disrupted Tesla's ability to source materials and distribute their products, leading to increased pricing to align with production ability and recoup losses. With raw materials prices coming down, Tesla is repositioning itself to have a more compelling and affordable vehicle lineup against its peers. And Tesla's brand equity is strengthened not by its advertising and forcing the team to maximize, but not by its advertising, but forcing the team to maximize the product's merits, relying on word of mouth and customer experiences. And then, of course, with Tesla's future releases like Cybertruck and things like that, that's going to push the brand even further. So let me know what your thoughts. Do you believe that Tesla should be getting into advertising or not? It seems like Wall Street is not happy with the price decreases recently. Here's a shout out, or here's a tweet from Car Sales Guys. The boys and girls on Wall Street are a bit upset about Tesla's recent price cuts, and some are suggesting that traditional advertising would have been a better move. Seriously, quote, does Tesla need brand awareness? That's a good point, right? Because like a lot of people know what Tesla already is, especially worldwide. So they're really just passing these savings or these efficiencies down to the customer to try and get more market share by selling a more inexpensive vehicle. And I think this is, of course, just, a really bad timing because prices skyrocketed in the past couple of years, and now they're just essentially coming really quickly down. Like, I mean, a Model Y long range was $66,000 very, very recently, and now it is down, of course, to the price of $53,000, or if you factor in the long range, standard range, all the way down to $50,000. So definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Do you think that Tesla should get into advertising a little bit more? I mean, they already do a lot. They already do a lot on probably the most effective media of advertising, which is social media and, of course, word of mouth. So I'm not sure if if legacy or television or regular media would be a good move for Tesla at the end of the day. But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. We're going to jump into our next topic. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description, there's a Patreon link where you can support the channel. So definitely check it out if you're interested. Water break. Thanks for joining in, everyone. River, Eric Chan, Gary, thanks for joining in. I know it's a little bit of an earlier stream than what we are used to. Crusher, thanks for coming in. If you are just joining in, we talked about the Model 3 long range and why it is potentially not back yet, because if you go on Tesla's website right now, if you were to go try and place an order, you will see that you cannot buy one. And the old price of a Model 3 long range before these most recent price drops was $39 or $49,990, basically $50,000. And so I really feel like the reason why they have not brought the Model 3 long range back, not because of like the tax credit or anything like that, which could play a factor, but I really feel like it is because of price or product cannibalization necessarily, which is basically the price of the Model 3 long range at $49,000 or $50,000 is way too close to the price of a Model 3 or Model Y standard range all-wheel drive at $50,000 or $49,990. So there really wouldn't be any sort of point to bringing it back right now, because most people, I would guess like 70 to 80% of people would just buy a Model Y all-wheel drive standard range at basically the same price, $1,000 difference. And so that is why I think Tesla is waiting to bring back the Model 3 long range. And I think the timing of that is there is going to be another price discount happening for the Model 3 standard range. We know that. We don't know that. That's our extreme speculation at this point. But I would definitely bet on it. And when they do that, they're going to bring a Model 3 long range at a price of around $45,000, maybe even a little less. And that is when they bring it back for ordering for everybody else. But let me know what your thoughts on. Let me know what you think. We're going to jump into our next topic. So of course we know there was recent price drops across the board for all the different Tesla models. But what if the price drops were because of something else and not necessarily because of order demand coming into the queue? So or it wasn't. I mean, could be two different reasons here, and we'll talk about like what actually happened with these price drops. Was it because of order demand or lack of order backlog, or was it because of a certain material that has just recently dropped as well? So we'll talk about both of them and what potentially could be for both of that. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best possible price, or just getting really good financing. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link, where you can get the best Tesla buying guide out there that has links to all the credit unions and banks that all have interest rates lower than Tesla financing. So definitely check it out. Link down below in the description. All right, so let us take a look at this. Shout out to Inside EVs for this article. Estimated Tesla order backlog potentially explains most recent price changes. So of course, this article cites our Twitter friend Troy Tesla, which tracks all the different delivery numbers, production numbers, estimates on that. But also another thing that Troy tracks, which is really interesting that I don't see anybody else tracking, is order backlog. So this is like number of orders in the queue that potentially are pending orders and things like that. And so what this article actually goes into, it looks like the order backlog has decreased, which makes sense because they're selling vehicles, but the time frame between when people are actually getting vehicles, or the wait time, has also decreased as well, which much shorter wait times, and essentially wait times across the country as well. So this could be a potential explanation on why the price drops have came down, and that's really because there's less demand in the queue, right? There's not as many people waiting to buy buy a Model 3 or Model Y. I mean, we know for sure there's not as many people waiting to buy a Model S or X. And the one easy way to see this is just taking a look at inventory charts. You can see right here on the screen, Model 3 inventory from mattjung.net, the website here. Model 3 inventory is starting to go up a little bit. If we go to the Model Y side, Model Y has also been trickling up. Not as crazy as this Model 3 chart with this crazy rise right here with Model 3 inventory, but still on a trending upward increase for Model Ys. And taking a look at the inventory charts or inventory websites like waitingfortesla.com, we can start to see there is a good amount of inventory piling up for Model 3, Model Y, and S and X. So is that the reason why was that most recent price drop, or is it something else? So here's a tweet from Dan Carew. Shout out to Dan Carew on Twitter. Tesla margins and price drops in 2023. The price of the lithium-ion battery cells, a larger component of an electric vehicle, has been dropping fast because the mineral prices used to make these cells. The price for 90% of 2023 has been cheaper than any point of 2022, and Berlin and Austin are ramping fast. So, of course, this is the material cost of the lithium piece of the battery, and the price of this has been dropping. So, is this just a scenario in which good guy Tesla or the Tesla team has a lower cost of building these vehicles and they want to pass it directly down to the customer, which is you and me? So this could be potentially it. I mean, we'd love to think that maybe it's a combination of two, because we, as a Tesla investor, we definitely want demand for Model 3, Model Y, S, and X. But of course, at the same time, if Tesla were to drop these prices, we still want them to be profitable. So we've definitely heard Elon and the team speak on earnings calls about whether or not they price these vehicles ahead of time, in which they try and price in how much these materials will cost to build these vehicles. The one thing we know for sure is that there is a earnings call in 10-11 days from now. We will hear as much as we can, and most likely someone is going to ask, are you pricing in material costs and all that stuff into your new pricing, and what is your margin at the moment for your Tesla vehicles? I mean, in the past they've talked about $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 of profit margin for Model 3 and Model Y, or I think Model Y. And so if it still stays at that and they can reduce costs in manufacturing in these factories, Berlin, Austin, start to ramp up even faster and even more, then maybe the cost of these vehicles are also starting to come down for Tesla, which is a good sign for everybody, I guess, right? But definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it. We're going to go ahead and jump into our next topic. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description, there's a Patreon link where you can support the channel. And there's a variety of benefits, so definitely check it out if you are interested. Actually, we'll jump into some comments. Let's see, where can I find the Tesla price history spreadsheet? If you Google Tesla price history spreadsheet, you'll be able to find it. Hike Tesla prices again? I think so, yeah. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't think so. Sup, Dennis? Sup, Gary? Welcome in. Perhaps Tesla advertising can get more older people to buy a Tesla. Well, that's the funny thing. I'm pretty sure the demographic of the Tesla owner is, there was an article, demographic of Tesla owner. I want to say it was 40-year-old white male or something like that. But let's see. Here we go. Yeah. I don't remember what age it was. White man, $130,000 of income. Let's see if we can control F age. Age of 34, is that right? Model S and X is 52 to 54. Model 3 owners is median age of 51. So, but that would be pretty funny or interesting to see what's the average age of a Model Y. The one thing that this article did not talk about was any stats on Model Y. It was only Model 3, S, and X. But average person is a white man with a household income of 130, and pretty much anywhere from 45 to 55 at the end of the day, which is probably skewed a lot more differently now that we've got Model Y into the mix. And I feel like a lot of more people are interested in the Model Y, and a bigger range of people are also interested in the Model Y. This afternoon, I opened up a Model Y frunk at the restaurant and I heard 4 other people say, wow, that trunk is very small. That's funny. I wonder, did they realize that there was no engine at the end of the day? Thank you for responding to my question. Several days ago, I went ahead and thank you for replying to my question last week, and I went ahead and canceled my Model 3 Performance. I'm going to wait till the Model 3 Performance Highland release. Do you think the price will be around $53,990? I actually think at this point it might be a little bit lower. The big thing that we'll be tracking to see on what pricing the Model 3 will be, the Highline, is what pricing you think we see the Cybertruck come in. If Cybertruck comes in at 60, 70, 80K, then I would bet the Model 3 Highline is going to be around that. Not the same 60, 80, 70, 80K, but I think it's going to be at what the current pricing is or even a little less, because right now Model 3 Performance is $52,990. I am predicting Model 3 is going to get $3,000 to $4,000 price drops across the board on all trims. Model 3 Standard Range $39,990, Model 3 Long Range $46,990, and then Model 3 Performance $49,990. I think that's where we're going to be at. And I think we're going to be there in a month or so. Hi, Dennis. Did you see MAGBAK tire rim protectors? What do you think? Is it worth $300K? I did not. Let's see. I did not even know. Maybe we should message them and see what's up. Here you go. Tesla rim cases. Is this like where it covers the side of the rims? I've seen stuff like this. I mean, it's could be worth it, but at the same time, it depends on how much this is actually going to protect the rim, because let's say you curb your rim once, like in LA at least, like, or most cities and even states, like even like Maryland, where we came from, you can get rims repaired for $100 to $150 each. So buying $300 set, like you can essentially curb up all your rims and get them all fixed for $500, I would say. So I'm not sure. I mean, shout out to MAGBAK. Love the team at MAGBAK for sending the different stuff, all the different parts and accessories. But I don't know. I mean, maybe if it was like $200 for the full set. I mean, imagine this is the full set for all 4, but I don't know. Questionable. Maybe if that was $200, and maybe they're pricing this early to see if it's $299 beforehand, but then maybe after that they'll try and price it lower. But if you're out there, you want to buy something from MAGBAK, shout out to MAGBAK and the team. MAGBAK and the team, they've got a really cool, really nice phone mount for the interior of your car. That's for the Model 3 and the Model Y, and it looks really OEM. Here's the discount code on the screen, Dennis15 off, and it's also linked down below in the description, and a link to all the other parts accessory companies that are partnered on the channel as well. Prices going down, no doubt, is a demand issue. Tesla stock will not be happy on Monday. Yeah, Crusher, I completely agree. Is the Roadster dead? It seems like it's not. It was not mentioned on the investor deck at all, or the investor day. But the thing with that is, like, of all the vehicles that they've debuted, of all the vehicles that they've talked about, all the vehicles, the Model 3 Y, S and X, well, not really the S and X, are all in line with the goal of Tesla, right? Which is sustainability, improving the planet, energy, resources, and all that stuff. Roadster is kind of the opposite of all that. It is not a vehicle that will help with anything besides just be stupid fast at the end of the day. So I can see why they might be killing that vehicle at the end of the day for something else. Maybe use resources and all that stuff for something else. But in this next topic, we're going to talk about a upcoming Supercharger upgrade and how it potentially will be a lot faster very, very soon. So we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about all the different things, because the rest of the market already pretty much is at this level of speed. Well, I guess not the rest of the market, but at least notably 2 companies that I know of off the top of my head. So we will get into it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best $299 Tesla at the best possible price, or just getting really good financing. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description if you want to support the channel, but more on that later. All right, so let us take a look at this. Shout out to Inside EV's report. V4 supercharger output to reach 350 kilowatts in 1 year. So hopefully that's next year, not like 2 years from now. But quote, in North America, these stalls will get a built-in CCS adapter, aka the Magic Dock. So right now, if you don't know, the current speed of superchargers in North America is 250 kilowatts. And actually, not all of them are 250 kilowatts. There's other superchargers that get down to 150 kilowatts. There's even some that go down to 72 kilowatts. So really, depending on which supercharger you go to, it can depend on how long you're actually going to be there. When I go to supercharger speeds that are 250 kilowatts, I spend anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes at a time to wait to charge from 10 to 80% is about what my threshold to be. But if you go to a 350 kilowatt supercharger, you're really only going to save like, I want to say 3 to 5 minutes at most, which I get it. Like if you're going to be there at a supercharger for 20 minutes, saving 5 minutes is what, 25% of the time or 75% of the time. So it certainly can make a lot of sense. And this is good because there's other companies out there right now that can already speed up to or get charging speeds up to 350 kilowatts. I'm saying like Volkswagen, Porsche, Hyundai, Kia, and also Polestar. All these different companies can go all the way up to 350. But of course, the difference is if the charging network itself, like Electrify America, EVgo, can those actually get up? The unit itself, can those actually get up to 350? And most of the time you don't see as many of them, not like Tesla, which a lot of them, or at least 50% in California and Los Angeles, are all 250 kilowatts. So it's going to be really cool to see that Tesla is going to release a 350 kilowatt supercharger, and hopefully it will be a lot sooner than later so we can all speed up just a little bit quicker. Because I don't know about you all, where you're at and what city you're in charging your Teslas. There's times when I will wait 5 minutes or so to get into a supercharging, and this is just normal days driving around in the commute. There's always just a lot more Teslas in the California, Los Angeles area, which that's good, right? More market share at the end of the day. But we're going to jump into our next topic. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link down below in the description if you want to support the channel. Water break. Thanks for jumping in. If you are just joining in, we talked about the Model 3 long range and why I really feel like, or the truth about why Tesla has not brought it back yet. And that is because the Model 3 long range, the old price before the most recent price cuts was $49,990. And if we were to factor in the $1,000 price cut on the Model 3, it's $49,000. That is way too close to a Model Y all-wheel drive standard range at $49,990. And so I really feel like Tesla's kind of waiting to reintroduce back the Model 3 long range. And what they're waiting for is once this federal tax credit kind of lands and the Model 3 standard range goes down to a $3,750 tax credit, then Tesla will be forced, or not forced, but Tesla will reduce the price of the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, maybe down to $39,990, and they will reintroduce, that's what I think, they will reintroduce a Model 3 long range in like the mid to high 40s, so that there's about a $2,000 to $3,000 spread between the Model 3 long range and the Model Y all-wheel drive standard range. Because if you were, I really feel like if you were to put both of these options in front of everybody, a Model 3 or a Model Y all-wheel drive for $49,990 or a Model 3 long range for $49,000, most three out of four people are definitely going to pick a Model Y all-wheel drive. That's what I would think. I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna put a poll out there on the YouTube community section channel just to see if my thoughts are correct or not. But in this next topic, there is a method to bypass all EV tax credit restrictions and to get the $7,500 federal tax credit. We're going to go through it and I'll talk about it and show you exactly how. But of course, spoiler alert, you cannot do this 100% with Tesla just yet. And also, I'll show you which vehicles actually qualify for it and which vehicles actually don't. And I'll show you exactly where they are qualifying for the 7,500 federal tax credit. But we'll talk about it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it. But basically, just getting the best deal on Tesla at the best financing rate. And so definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And today's video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link, where you can get access to the best Tesla buying guide out there that has all the best interest rates and financing rates for your Tesla, all better than Tesla financing. So definitely check it out. Link down below in the description. All right, so let us jump into this. Shout out to Electric for posting this article, how to bypass nearly every restriction of the EV tax credit by leasing, of course. If you didn't know that, we've actually talked about this on the channel. But basically, the TLDR on this is that if you lease a vehicle, if you lease an electric vehicle, you might potentially redeem or be able to reap the benefits of the full 7,500 federal tax credit. It's line item on the deal. You can usually see it on the breakdown when you're buying the vehicle from a dealership or anything like that. And here are some of the examples. If you buy a Hyundai Kona EV or a Hyundai Ioniq 5, or even the Polestar 2, there are already line item 7,500 discounts or $7,500 incentives so that you can lease the vehicle for that much less. And if you're wondering, like, how much on a lease is 7,500 actually worth to you, it's basically $30 a month in monthly payment for every $1,000 in discounts essentially off of a lease. So 7,500, quick math, 7.5 times 30, that's a lease difference, a monthly payment difference of $225 a month. Here are some other vehicles that actually qualify. And the reason for this is because the Inflation Reduction Act, how it is written, commercial leases or commercial deals or purchases qualify as a loop around hole for the 7,500 federal tax rate. So other vehicles like Chevy Bolt EV, Chevy Bolt EUV, Mach-E, E-Transit, Escape EV, Corsair, all these different vehicles qualify on a lease, because what happens is when these vehicles are being leased to you, the actual owner is actually the financial company of that vehicle company. So like Hyundai Financial Services gets the 7,500 federal tax credit, and then they pass it on to you as the consumer. But there is one Tesla that we know that is kind of passing some of the benefits of the 7,500 vehicle, and that is the Model 3 standard range. You can see right here, we've got the Model 3 standard range right here on the screen. We can actually adjust the new price of $41,990. And if you scroll all the way down to the APR, or the leasing financing rate, you'll notice that it is a 1.9 financing rate APR. And that, of course, does not exist anywhere else. I mean, the average rate is anywhere from 5 to 6, maybe even 7% on any sort of financial product. And so what Tesla is doing is they are absorbing that 7,500 federal tax rate. They're giving you a lower lease APR down to probably a subsidized one, all the way down to 1.9%. And that is how they are passing some of the savings. And we know this for a fact because if we put in the long range vehicle Model 3, the APR goes up to 5.9%. So we can easily see that Tesla is trying to subsidize it in some sort of fashion. And so that is where it works on a Model 3 standard range. And I actually kind of recommend the Model 3 standard range to some certain buyers out there, people that live in New Jersey that essentially may not pay any sales tax on purchasing an AEV, and also people that are looking for the new generation Highline, the new Tesla Model 3 redesign refresh that potentially could be coming out later this year, or more than likely next year. You could do a 2-year lease, pay Tesla and drive a vehicle or Model 3 for a little bit, and then once you're done, turn it in and get the new leasing or the new Model 3 Highline at the end of the day. So definitely some pretty interesting stuff. Let me know what your thoughts on it, on how to basically use this method to bypass the 7,500 federal tax rate or all the restrictions on that. But we're going to jump into our next topic. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel. So definitely check it out if you're interested. If you're just joining in, welcome. We talked about the Model 3 long range and how I potentially feel like Tesla is waiting to reintroduce that because the price of it is way too close to a Model Y all-wheel drive. So let me know what your thoughts on that. We've got 2 more topics, and of course we will get through the live stream chat because that's the benefit, right? You can come in and ask anything you want and we will answer it and get to it at a certain point. Well, thanks for coming in, everyone. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for dropping all the comments. But in this next topic, a little quick PSA. It looks like Tesla has made some updates to their Tesla app with supercharging prices and supercharging wait times. This is very useful because we always want to know. I can't, usually when I get into my Tesla and I want to go to a supercharger, I have to wait all the way until I get in and see what supercharger I can actually go into. So this is really useful because now I can pre-plan just a little bit to see what is on my route. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best on Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. And so let us take a look at this. Shout out to Nata, not a Tesla app, for actually releasing this. Looks like Tesla adds supercharger prices and wait times to the Tesla app. So you can take a look right here. Just like how you see these exact screens in your Tesla vehicle, when you click on a supercharger, you can now actually see the different costs because it's also time of use based upon what time you actually get there. It's higher rate versus lower rates. And this is actually like pretty crazy, right? 23 cents to 46 cents in California. And now we can also see the wait time. Some of them are also busier, but I think this is more so of a problem in metropolitan cities, like especially California, where these places, these superchargers can definitely get backed up. And you can see right here, this one has a 5-minute wait time. The cool thing with this is you could probably preload your destination as well. And so that, because I don't know if you've noticed, when you try and drive to a Tesla supercharger, your Tesla preconditions its batteries for optimal charging and also preconditions it so it doesn't necessarily ruin the battery as well, because supercharging is a high rate of speed and potentially a higher hot charging speed. So this is definitely some cool features, a nice feature that Tesla has added. If you haven't messed with it, definitely update your Tesla app and check it out. But we're going to jump into the live stream comments. But before we do that, this video is like sponsored by my Patreon link, so definitely check it out if you're interested. Crusher, I ended up showing my trunk space after my Model Y long range was criticized. Apparently, they didn't know that the trunk is still in the back. Okay, so it looks like maybe they thought the frunk was the only trunk, so that's pretty cool. Sad to say, no Tesla Model Y price change nor Model Y standard range in Canada. No love for Canadians from Tesla. Yeah, I think the only thing we saw, Rick, was that the Model S and X got some sort of a price decrease, like $5,000, but that's essentially it. I just ordered Model Y Performance. It's slated to estimated delivery date of April. Is that date realistic? I think so, yeah. I mean, this seems like there's a good amount of Model Y Performances also in inventory, so you should be able to take delivery ASAP. We've got 36 available, and Tesla's producing them, so you should be able to get it by the end of April. And also because Tesla wants to, sell these vehicles very quickly because it's a higher profit margin, so you should be able to get it very, very soon. So we got one last topic. In this next topic, we're going to talk about the ultimate life hack and why you should buy a Tesla because of the efficiency and everything about it. So we'll make the case on why Tesla makes the most sense, a Tesla vehicle, or really just an electric vehicle, and how it makes the most sense. But if you're just joining in, my name is Dennis. I love talking about Tesla hacking, as I like to call it, but basically just getting the best thing on Tesla at the best possible price, or just getting really good financing. So if you're interested in any of that, please hit that subscribe. And so let us take a look at this. Here's the article from Inside EVs, which kind of inspired me to talk about this. But here's the title. Here's why you should buy an EV. It's not just about going green. And so if we go down to the different aspects of it, the reasons why they recommend buying a Tesla or buying an EV is that, number one, the performance EVs are quick. fun and quiet. Yeah, 100% I agree with that. Electric cars are definitely a lot faster than a lot of different vehicles out there on the road. With that instant torque, you can basically drive in a different manner. It's more ADD, I guess, in a sense. You get instant gratification. You can kind of go wherever you want at any turn. And they're also fun, very fun, because they're fast, maybe also a little bit dangerous, and really quiet. There's no rumble, there's no exhaust, there's none of that. And so you can sneak up on people, which I don't know if that's a benefit, but definitely a hack. The next thing is the tech and features. I mean, Tesla notably is very intuitive, definitely very a luxury technology at the end of the day as well. And Tesla is always updating their vehicles with latest updates like fart mode. But really the biggest benefit to us as owning a Tesla is dog mode. We love taking our dogs out and having that peace of mind that the AC is on. We can check on them with the camera. The Sentry mode on the interior cam is really, really nice and always being enhanced at the end of it. But the biggest thing I would say with the technology aspect is Tesla Autopilot. I think that's a pretty slept on feature. I would say that a lot of people don't necessarily factor in as a cost savings or massive benefit. Tesla Autopilot is free, not this enhanced autopilot on the screen, but Tesla Autopilot is free with every single brand new Tesla purchase. And that is what everybody thinks they want or wants when they think they want to get full self-driving. Autopilot keeps you in the lane. It accelerates for you. It decelerates for you. It's great on road trips or open highways or even like 30 to 1 hour commutes, because once you throw it in autopilot, you can essentially relax a little bit. There's not a bunch of micro movements that you have to focus on when driving a regular car. So you can just throw it in on autopilot, let the vehicle drive for you all the way down to your destination, and then you can sit back, relax, listen to a podcast, or even do other things while your vehicle is essentially driving for you. So I like to tell people that you essentially can get maybe even 40%, 50% of your time back that you normally would lose commuting or driving around wherever. The next one that Inside EV goes to is storage and space. I mean, that's not a shocker that because there's no engine and all these different things in a vehicle, a regular vehicle and an EV, there's more space for you to store certain things so that you can essentially take more things when you're driving and around. And the last thing is charging versus gas, on why EVs are more convenient. And so this one I'm a little bit at a in between too for this, because gasoline prices have gone down and this seems like they're kind of stabilizing. They might go back up, but the one thing there is that charging and electricity costs are definitely going up. So at some point, I really do feel like electricity might get to the same level as gas. So I think like the next thing with that would be definitely looking into some sort of an investment for solar. So that way you can generate your own energy and then it goes right into your car, or you use your own energy or anything like that. But the one thing I will agree with charging versus gas and why EVs are 100% more convenient is because you don't have to go to gas stations anymore. You don't have to spend the 5 to 10 minutes going to a gas station, pumping it up or filling it up, whatever. You actually just go home. You go home at night, charge it in overnight, wake up the next day, and your vehicle is charged up to 100% and you're ready to go on to your next day. The only thing that might outweigh that, of course, is road trips, stopping off the side of the road, going to a supercharger and spending the 20 to 25 minutes to charge it up, that can definitely add to any sort of road trip. But the thing with that is on any road trip, you're most likely stopping over the side of the road to go to the bathroom or picking up snacks anyways. So it could definitely make a lot of sense at the end of the day. So those are kind of like my main things on why buying a Tesla is kind of a life hack, and just at the end of the day, buying an electric vehicle could be more efficient for your lifestyle based upon these reasons. And the biggest thing, another thing that I also like to mention is that how intuitiveness that Tesla is with their technology. They always enhance it in different things. Like the one thing I always like bringing up is about the Bluetooth with a phone Bluetooth in Tesla. Usually in any other Bluetooth car, when you're on the phone with someone phone and you walk near your car just takes over, and then you got to play this puzzle game between, or this musical chair game to figure out like, okay, do I have to go into the car to take over the phone call or anything like that? But with Tesla, when you're on your phone and on Bluetooth, if you go to your car and sit down, there's actually a little prompt that comes on the screen and it asks you, do you want to transfer your call to the car? And so that is a really intuitive, neat feature that they rolled out pretty recently, and that makes a lot of sense that there's not a hiccup with the transition of your Bluetooth phone call to your car. Or even if you have passengers in the car, you don't want them hearing your conversation or whatever, then it gives you that prompt instead of just automatically transferring over. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. That's why I definitely consider Teslas to be a little bit of a life efficiency hack. But let me know what your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the description or even in the comments below. But we're going to jump into the live stream comments. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is a Patreon link where you can support the channel. And there's a variety of benefits, but some of them include actually scheduling a call with me, where you can ask me any questions about buying a Tesla, selling a Tesla, or even financing a Tesla. And after you join the Patreon, you get a link to my buying guide, which has links to all the resources that I use to get the best possible deal at the best financing rate, including credit unions and banks on that list that all have interest rates lower than Tesla financing, lower than Tesla's 5.59%, some even as low as 2.99%. So definitely check it out. Patreon link down below in the description. And as an added benefit, I do respond to all DMs in the Patreon app. So definitely check it out. Link down below in the description. Paul, thanks for coming in. You missed a lot, but if you're just joining in, we talked about the Model 3 long range and why it's not coming back. And I really feel like there's two things. I think the first thing is this $7,500 federal tax credit. I think that is messing with the logistics of it not coming back. And I really feel like if it does come back, the reason why Tesla hasn't brought it back yet is because the price cannibalization of the price of a Model Y standard range at $49,990 and a potential Model 3 long range at $48 to $49, that's way too close to each other. And so I really feel like Tesla is going to release the Model 3 long range at a lower price point so that there's a little bit of spread between the Model Y long range the Model Y all-wheel drive standard range. And so I do think there is going to be some more price cuts in the near future for the Model 3 lineup. You're the man. Thanks for all the response. No, thank you, Dre Z. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for the comments, and thanks for hitting the like button. But thanks for joining in, everybody. We'll probably be back tomorrow, same time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.